Good evening, students. Let's enjoy the cold, freezing climate and snowfall of the Himalayas through this adventurous story, The Seven Snowmen. This story is an extract from Little Indians Stories from Across the Country by Pika Nani. Pika Nani is a children's book writer from Bangalore. Her real name is Deepika Murthy. She writes stories for children and loves to travel. The story is about 7 people who are stranded in Uttarakhand. 11 years old Jia, her father Hitesh, and his brothers Akhilesh and Dinesh are on a trek in the hills of Uttarakhand. The weather changes suddenly and their way gets blocked by snow. They are unable to go back and take shelter in the house of a dhaba owner named Shivcharan. Shivcharan and his 2 children, Om and Alka, are also trapped because of the heavy snowfall. The story is full of surprises. The danger of being trapped in the middle of a snowstorm and their inability to come out of the basement of the dhaba adds to the suspense of the story. Let's read it to know what happens next. The next morning, everyone was still in the basement when they heard a loud rumbling noise. Akhilesh opened the trapdoor and the others followed him. But the front door wouldn't open. The snow had blocked it from outside. Shivcharan pulled open a window and jumped out. And then Jia saw it, a helicopter disappearing into the horizon. They waved, shouted, screamed, and ran till their feet got stuck in the snow. But it was too late. For the first time in 2 days, the group felt hopeless. Till now, they had been hopeful that they would be rescued soon, but they had missed their chance. The next morning, they heard the noise. Akhilesh tried to open the trapdoor, but could not because it was blocked from outside by the snow. Snow had piled on it, so Shivcharan pulled open a window and jumped out of it. Shivcharan jumped out and the others also followed him. They shouted, screamed, and waved at the helicopter because they wanted to be rescued from the snowstorm. They wanted to be saved. But their feet got stuck in the snow and the helicopter moved away from them. The group had been hopeful that they would be rescued, but they missed the helicopter that had come looking for them and now they felt hopeless. They were sad because they thought they would never be saved. They would never be rescued. The men decided to take turns waiting outside the house if the helicopter came looking for them again. They had a difficult time. The sun refused to come out. It continued to snow and they had to clear it from the front of the house every now and then. The men suffered from colds and stiff joints. The children tried to help them out in small ways by making tea, chopping vegetables, and tidying up the basement. Now, the men decided to take turns to keep watch so that they could attract the attention of the helicopter in case another came by. That way, they would know if and when the helicopter came looking for them. They decided to do this because previously they had missed the helicopter that came in search of them. Children, it was a difficult situation because it kept snowing and the men had to keep clearing the snow from the front door. The men suffered from cold and stiff joints. Here, stiff joint means they felt pain in the knees, elbows, and fingers. They were not able to move their knees, elbows, and fingers easily because the weather was very cold as the sun refused to come out and it was snowing heavily. The children helped them in small ways by making tea, chopping vegetables, and cleaning the basement. It was day 4. There was still no sign of any rescue team, and the road was still blocked. Why don't you children go out and play? It hasn't snowed since last night, and the sky looks clear this morning, said Jia's father. Out in the snow, Om and Alka showed Jia how to pack the snow as if making laddus. Then add more snow to make a big round ball. But it was too cold for them to throw snowballs at each other. Om and Alka threw them up in the air instead and watched in delight as they crashed to the ground. Jia continued to pack the snow and made a big snowball. Jia's father suggested that the children should go out and play. It had stopped snowing, and so he thought the children could enjoy themselves for a while. What did the children teach one another? Om and Alka showed Jia how to pack the snow and make snowballs out of them. They did not throw the balls at each other as it was too cold, but they tossed them in the air and watched with delight as they crashed to the ground. Did Jia's father give the right advice by telling the children to go out and play? Was it right to play with snow and enjoy themselves while they were waiting to be rescued? Actually, it was not wrong. It was a good suggestion to relax while under such tense circumstances, where they did not know for sure whether they would ever be rescued. Let's make a snowman, said Jia. This time, Jia rolled another, slightly smaller snowball and placed it on the first. Then she made a smaller one for the head. She used pebbles for the eyes, a twig for the nose, and shaped a smile with little stones. Our own snowman, announced Jia, and the children clapped and laughed. The 4 men also joined them and started to build their own. Soon, 7 snowmen of different sizes stood in a semicircle. The snowmen looked smart with their different hats, woolen caps, cracked buckets, and an upturned vegetable basket placed on their heads. Jia suggested that they should make a snowman. She made one snowman with a small snowball for a head and a big snowball for the body, and then she used pebbles for the eyes, a twig for the nose, and small stones for the mouth to show a smile. Om and Alka showed Jia how to make snowballs, and she taught them to make a snowman. Jia's father, uncles, and Shivcharan also joined them and made 7 snowmen standing in a semicircle. Semicircle means a half circle. Then even smartened them with different kinds of hats. They used woolen caps, cracked buckets, and vegetable baskets to cover their heads. Everyone was tired by now. After a hearty lunch, they decided to take some rest, except for poor Dinesh, whose turn it was to be outdoors. Dinesh Chacha, why don't you also take a nap? I'll sit inside near the window. The snowman will keep me company, said Jia. Take a nap means sleep for a short time during the day. Keep me company means be with me, not leave me alone. So Jia said that the snowman will be with her. After making snowmen and enjoying a hearty lunch, all of them had become tired and wanted to rest. But Dinesh could not go back and take rest because it was his turn to be outdoors and look for the helicopter and watch out for the rescue team. Jia offered to help Dinesh. Since Dinesh was tired and sleepy, Jia took his place and promised to keep a watch. Jia's father was the first to hear the whirring sound. He woke the others up and they all rushed out of the trapdoor. Jia had curled up near the window in deep sleep. Not again, Dinesh thought. The helicopter was flying away from them. Jia woke up too and went outside. Everyone was staring at the empty sky. Hello, said a stranger's voice behind her and made her jump. She turned around. It can't be true, she thought. But between the snowmen were 3 soldiers from the Indian Army. Jia's father was the first person to hear the whirring sound. He woke the others up and all of them rushed out of the trapdoor and saw that Jia had curled up near the window in deep sleep. As a result, the helicopter flew away from them as they could not spot or hear it on time. Why did they rush outside when they heard the whirring sound? They knew a helicopter was flying overhead and they wanted to attract attention. Children, why is it funny that Jia was sleeping soundly? This was funny because she was supposed to be wide awake, keeping watch in place of her uncle. How would they have felt to see the helicopter flying away? They would have been disappointed to miss being rescued, especially when they had made arrangements to be watchful. They thought they had lost another chance of being saved. Why was Dinesh sad? Dinesh was sad because he felt he had failed in his duty as a watchman. Then Jia heard a stranger's voice behind her. She turned and looked. She could not believe her eyes when she saw 3 soldiers standing between the snowmen. They were from the Indian Army who had dropped down from the helicopter. They were part of the rescue team looking for the lost trekkers. Children, why do you think the rescue team had come to check on them? They would have seen the 7 snowmen where they had seen nothing 4 days earlier and presumed that the 7 people they were looking for could be here, trapped in snow. After they found them, the helicopter soon returned and lifted them up, and they all were saved. So, children, who are the real rescuers in the story? The 7 snowmen or the 3 soldiers? The characters exhibit qualities of strength and calmness in spite of the dangerous situation they are in. All seems to be hopeless when they miss catching the attention of the first set of rescuers. But not all hope is lost. They plan how to watch out for the rescue team. They take turns to keep watch and to do the cooking and cleaning. Not a single character gives way to desperation. All remain calm and collected. They even make snowmen to relax and ease out the situation. It is these snowmen that ultimately catch the eye of the army men in the helicopter and they are rescued. Finally, the adventure comes to a happy ending when the army rescues them. Was the idea of taking turns to wait outside the house a good one? Why or why not? Yes, I think that the idea of keeping watch by taking turns outside the house was a good one. In that way, there was one person always keeping a watch for the helicopter, while the remaining 3 could either rest or do other work. Children, how do you think the soldiers from the Indian Army were able to find the 7 lost people? I think that the soldiers could easily spot the 7 snowmen from the helicopter because of the different kinds of colorful hats that the snowmen were wearing. From above, they must have thought that the seven snowmen were the seven people they were looking for. Children, you also go on picnic with your friends and teachers. What kind of problems can you face when on a picnic or any other kind of outing from school? How do you manage to spend time when your teachers are making arrangements to take you home safely? What would you do to help your teachers and other students in such a situation? Think about these points. We will discuss them in the online class tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the story. Feel free to ask if you have any query. Thank you.